Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. Joining me once again, my co-host Los Tocayos, Adrian. Adrian, what's good, man?
Hey, what's up, dude? Sunday over here, waiting anxiously for Copa América, but feeling relieved that we have some Eurocopa happening for the last couple of days. So, not too bad.
Yeah, did you catch that England-Serbia game today?
Yeah, man. Hey, Jude, baby.
Yeah. Wasn't as convincing as a win from England, but they'll be happy with that result for sure. But man, we're here to talk about Copa America, specifically Group B. If you haven't checked out our Group A preview, make sure to check that out. Adrian and I had both Argentina and Canada advancing from that group. But this is going to be Group B, the other side of that bracket, where I think, Adrian, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're under the same impression as me that this is El Grupo de la Muerte. Not because necessarily the quality is super high between all four of these, just because the quality is very, very parejo, very even between all four of these teams. Those four being Ecuador, Jamaica, Mexico, and Venezuela. Adrian, man, this is our video previewing Group B, so let's get into it. Starting with eltri, Mexico. What can you tell us about Mexico heading into Group B?
All right, I wish I could say better things, but this one, I'm just kidding. No, Mexico comes in with, as a head coach, Jaimelozano, as we all know, and Lamborghini still being at the helm, perhaps being the last tournament. We don't know, depending on how he does here. We shall see. Mexico has never won this tournament in any of the times that they have been a participant on. Nonetheless, they had two runner-up appearances back in 2001 and 1993. Players to watch for Mexico. If you ask me, it's kind of a tough question, but I think there's only maybe three of them that we can actually or would like to follow. It's edsonalvarez, who perhaps is one of the best midfielders in CONCACAF as of today. Santigimenez and Julian Quiñones. Those three names are pretty much the players who can make a difference for Mexico in this tournament. How is Mexico's form heading into Copa América? So over the last 5 matches, Mexico has lost 4 and won just 1. It's heading into Copa América with 3 losses in a row. Those 3 are 2-0 against the USMNT in the Final of Nations League, 4-0 against Uruguay, the blown-out game that we all heavily criticized jimmylozano, and then lastly, Mexico against Brazil, which we think it's a smokescreen for all the other issues, on the underlying issues that Mexico has been exhibiting since 2022. I know that people want to feel comfortable and somewhat hopeful after that match against Brazil, but let's be honest. I think the only reason why they rolled to tie is because Brazil, got off the pedal, got off the gas and let Mexico play. And after that, whenever they wanted to win it, they went ahead and won it. So this is how Mexico is showing up to Copa America. A little disappointing, if you ask me, with way more doubts than answers. And I think at this point in time, and I can only speak on myself, but I think I'm just waiting for something to happen. Whether if it's a bad thing or a bad thing, we don't know. But I just want something, man.
Interestingly, though, 2 things. If you look at the last 3 matches that Mexico has played against conmebol teams, like you said, 2 of them, Uruguay, Brazil, which were the most recent ones, but they played Colombia in December of 2023 and also lost that. So not looking too well against conmebol teams. But yeah, Mexico's not coming into this tournament in the best of form. Like we said, they didn't get blown out by Brazil, but they maybe were just able to tie it up to that point because, like you said, Brazil took their foot off the pedal. But they will be looking at this tournament, at this group, and saying it's manageable, it's doable. And then they'll be looking at their side of the bracket and saying, as long as we avoid Argentina, we can make a semifinal on this, even though this is probably the worst Mexico side in the last 20 years.
Yes.
If they win this group and avoid Argentina, the next, playing either Canada or Chile or Peru, we don't want to discredit anybody, they'll feel confident about that, I think. It's, not being on the side of Brazil, USA, Colombia, Uruguay, there's a lot harder side of the bracket over there. But as long as they can avoid Argentina, that's another, semifinal for Mexico there if they get out this group. Big if, because like we said, this is a group with very similarly, placed teams. Speaking of that, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, just all in all, the gods of conmebol, smile upon Mexico. And as they say, Diosito ahorca, Diosito aprieta, pero no ahorca. So Yeah,
There you go.
we shall see.
Who will be Mexico's probably biggest and toughest rival from this? I think is going to be Ecuador, even though Venezuela's in a great form as well. Ecuador head coach Felix Sanchez, last time champions. They've never won it. Their best finish was fourth place at the 59-93 Copa Americas. But this is a team that has a lot of World Cup experience. They're always a team that qualifies for the most part from conmebol to the World Cup, which is shocking because Ecuador is such a small nation. Yet they qualify from that very, very competitive region, right? Ahead of oftentimes of Chile, Paraguay, Venezuela, all these other teams. Ecuador seems to always be at the World Cup. Players to watch: Ener Valencia, the old Tigres player, striker, and Moisescaicedo, the midfielder from Chelsea, are kind of two of the big names from Ecuador that can be, turn a game over quickly and be difference makers. And record heading into the tournament, they're currently fifth in conmebol qualifiers, and they actually play Honduras, or are playing Honduras. Let me look that up real quick, because they were supposed to be playing today. They actually just beat Honduras 2-1 today.
Nice.
And so they're heading into this tournament with off 2 wins in a row. They beat Bolivia 3-1 and now beat Honduras 2-1. But before that, back on 9th of June, they lost 1-0 to Argentina in a friendly. They lost 2-0 in March to Italy in a friendly. And before that, they beat Guatemala 2-0. So Ecuador, very similar team in terms of level to Mexico, and another team that kind of presents themselves in this group, Venezuela. What can you tell us about them?
Venezuela, man. I think yes, I totally agree that Ecuador is a team to be careful with. Definitely a stacked squad if you look at it. But if I'm gonna be wary and conservative about a specific side in this Copa America, specifically in Group B, is gonna be Venezuela, man. Venezuela so far has as a head coach Fernando Batista. They have never won this tournament in history, and their best appearance has been as a top finish, fourth place in the 2011 edition. Some players to watch, of course, El Rey Salomón Rondon, who's currently playing for Pachuca. He's a globetrotter. He's been playing. He's been in the game for the longest time. I guess even before you and I were, I guess fully aware of the international scene in football.
Yeah, he's an old guy.
Yeah, I know, but hey, he's good, man. He's really good. Yangel Herrera from Girona, John Aramburu, and let's see, those are the few names in Venezuela. Maybe also Soteldinho, who used to play in Tigres, and I think right now is playing in Brazil. Also, another name that to watch for this Venezuelan side. Heading into the tournament, they're actually fourth in CONMEBOL qualifying table, which is unheard of for Venezuela. For the longest time, Venezuela has been competing with Bolivia to not be the worst team in CONMEBOL, and just recently they have managed to stun everyone and shock the entire CONMEBOL scene. Fourth for them is actually a great position, so that's why I'm saying, like, if there's someone to be careful with, is Venezuela. What's their form over the last 5 matches? Well, as much as I say that they're too hot to handle, it doesn't look as hot as it would like, as they would have liked to. But they only have lost 1 match out of the last 5, 1-1 and draw 3. So the last time they lost, it was actually against Italy, 2-1 in an international friendly back in the 21st of March. 24th of March, they faced Guatemala and they draw 0-0. And then the rest of the games have been FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Peru, where they draw 1-1. They draw against Ecuador 0-0, and they defeated Chile back in October of last year. So definitely a very interesting side to see. And I think this is going to be one of those big challenges for Mexico in this specific group.
The one thing that I guess the reason that I put Ecuador was maybe Mexico's biggest threat here was because when I was looking and searching up information about Venezuela, they haven't played since March 24th, like a friendly or anything. I'm thinking that can be very detrimental to them, not having played for almost 3 months. But we'll see. I mean, like you said, there's Venezuela who's riding high in CONMEBOL, 4th out of 10th, in route to qualify for World Cup qualifying and getting some big results. The last one of this group, Jamaica head coach Heimir Hallgrímsson, the Swede. I believe he's from Sweden. Iceland.
Iceland, yes.
Yeah.
I was one of those countries.
Last time champions. They have never been champions. They will be participating in the 3rd Copa América. And, man, this is a team that has improved a lot in CONCACAF, similar to Panama. But they are yet to get that big hurdle over the final hurdle. They do decent in Nations League, qualify to semifinals. They've qualified a couple, maybe semifinals or finals in Gold Cup, but have yet to make that big statement win in CONCACAF to win one of those tournaments. And yeah, I mean they're coming into this tournament off 3 wins in a row, 4 wins out of the last 5 matches, but they are all against CONCACAF opposition. They recently just beat Dominican Republic 3-2 in qualifiers and then 1-0 in qualifiers as well. That was earlier this month. They beat Panama at the Nations League 1-0. They lost to USA 3-1 after almost beating them after 90 minutes. And then back in November 21, they beat Canada in the Nations League. So players to watch for Jamaica: Bobby Cordova-Reid from Fulham. The old guy, just like we were talking about Solomon there at Venezuela. Michael Antonio there at West Ham. He's also like 34, still firing at West Ham. And Demarai Gray over there at, I think he's in Qatar or Saudi Arabia. Yeah. But a team who, is going to be lacking most likely Leon Bailey. They're all-star, their star, but, going to be, like we said, pretty confident in this group that they could get a result, maybe get second place again, a group that is very, very even.
Yeah, we all know that Jamaica, it's a sore spot for Mexico, pretty much over the last recent years. And so, again, as you said, this is the group of death, not because of the quality of the members of the group, but more so the evenness of it, right? So I think this is up for grabs. It's going to be kind of hard to see or to say who's going to end up as I guess the winner of this group, and then as a runner-up. I think all 4 of them have the same equal chances of coming out of this group.
Yeah, dude. I believe, like we said, this is going to be a very even group and a group that can go either way. And Jamaica can get that statement win here against one of these teams and maybe qualify on their 3rd appearance here in conmebol Copa América. So how does this group start? First match day, Ecuador faces Venezuela, Mexico against Jamaica. That could be a very intriguing match just with the history we've seen between both teams, Mexico and Jamaica. Jornada 2, match day 2, Ecuador plays Jamaica, Mexico plays Venezuela. Another very, mouth-watering matchup between Mexico and Venezuela. And match day 3, the last match day, will be Ecuador versus Mexico and Venezuela versus Jamaica. So how does this, lead us into the quarterfinals? The winner of this Group B will play the runner-up of Group A, and the winner of Group A will play the runner-up of this Group B. So, Adrian, give us your predictions for the standings of this group.
This is very, very difficult, man. Super difficult. If we were in the 90s or early 2000s, or maybe early 2010s, I would have said, yes, Mexico will take it and be, first. Take this group home and just move on as the first seeded team in this group. But it's a tough one, man. I want to say that as much as we want Mexico to avoid Argentina, I see Ecuador moving on as first and Mexico second. That's how I see it right now.
Wow. Okay, I have the same 2, but I have Mexico moving in first, avoiding Argentina. Ecuador, they do just enough, and Ecuador second. Venezuela 3rd, Jamaica 4th. But I think it's going to be a very, very close group.
Super
with
close, man.
The top team that advances probably only going to have 5 points.
Yeah, I agree.
One of those types. Where at the end of Jornada 3, at the beginning of Jornada 3, match day 3, everybody's still going to be alive.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those groups.
Yes.
But yeah, those are our predictions. Adrian, man, this has been the Group B preview. Yeah, as we wrap up this episode, bro, where can our listeners find us?
They can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit like button, enter the notifications. You should also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Instagram and TikTok. Be sure to follow us there. We post memes, latest news, and some short videos of our episodes. So follow us there.
Yeah, so be sure to follow us there on your preferred social media platform of choice. And let us know in the comments below. We like interacting with you guys. Who do you got coming out of Group B? Do you think eltri will win the group and avoid Argentina? Or do you think it's going to be a lot more difficult for Mexico here in Group B? Who do you think qualifies from this group? Do you think any surprises from this group? For sure, let us know in the comments below. Adrian, man, another good episode. See you in the next one, bro.
Take it easy, my friend.
Likewise. See ya.
Deuce.